Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are listening to me, I want to congratulate you for making it this far. This is a very intense mentorship program and one in which you will not come out the same. There are going to be principles that you will have learned as long as you apply them. You can't imagine the amount of results that begin to play out in your day-to-day life. So without further ado, let's just go straight. Recall that in the last episode, or part B, in the part B of Know Thyself, we ended with the melancholy. So we've been considering the temperament, the four temperaments, types, which is like there's melancholy, there is sanguine, there's phlegmatic, and then there's choleric. So we covered melancholy in the last episode, and as a continuation, which is like the part C or the part 3 of this broadcast, we are bringing you, of this program, we are bringing you the fourth temperament type called phlegmatic. So a phlegmatic is calm, a phlegmatic is reliable, a phlegmatic is peaceful. Recall that I also told you that my wife is phlegmatic and that I am melancholic, even though at some point I started saying that I had another temperament type. Initially, I thought I was predominantly melancholic and that I had some choleric traits, but months or 1 year to my 40th birthday, it started looking like it was my wife that first noticed it, that I think I am now more predominantly choleric, and then my secondary trait is melancholic. Anyways, I talked about that in part B, and if this is the video you chanced upon, maybe because a friend shared it to you, please know that this is this is part 3 or part C of module 1, which is Know Thyself. So you need to go back and watch all the whole modules for it to make the most sense out of this mentorship program. So phlegmatics are supportive. They're supportive, they are calm and dependable, making them ideal for careers where patience, consistency, and teamwork are essential. One of the issues with should I say issues? One of the things with phlegmatics are that they are peaceable. They follow this Bible, this scripture that says follow peace with all men. And I mean, if it's a scripture, that means that's what God wants, right? But sometimes phlegmatics take it to the extreme. They are calm people. You can't ruffle them up. Like, there's nothing you do that you get the kind of reaction you would get if you tried that with a choleric or a sanguine or even a melancholy. So phlegmatics are supportive, and one thing with being supportive is that what if you're supporting the wrong thing? That's the issue. Phlegmatics can support a leader who is leading leading the people to the ditch. That becomes a problem, right? So phlegmatics are supportive, but anyways, in the general sense, if you have a phlegmatic wife and you're a reasonable husband, I kid you not, you have the best match, because at least the phlegmatic wife will be supportive of your awesome ideas, and then they are calm, and then they are dependable, making them ideal for careers where patience, they have a lot of patience, they are consistent people, and where teamwork are essential. They often prefer stable environments. Like I said, they don't like, sometimes I have conversations with my wife where I'm like, there are some peace that are expensive, because she would just be like, let's make peace. And I'm like, on this situation, if we make peace, maybe we had a situation with someone external, and I didn't like the way they related with us, or they did something, and then I'm telling her that, look, you know what, we need to put a stop to this that these people have been doing. And then she's like, no, let's just make peace. I don't want trouble. And I'm like, look, there are some peace that is expensive. There's some peace that does not serve our purpose. Of course, 95% of the time we should make peace, but there's that 5% where you should be assertive and say, hey, this is what I want, and I don't want this, so that you can fight once and for all and have your peace. So they often prefer stable environments and roles that allow them to support others. One of the things I find out is that sometimes nothing, if not all the time, nothing changes. They say in physics, In science, they say that an object remains in a state of rest until an external force is applied. So, what if that state of rest is stagnancy? What if that state of rest is mediocrity? What if that state of rest is lack of vision? We need to apply. I'm sure colleagues will love this. You need to apply an external force so that you can move the vision to the permanent side. So they often prefer stable environments and roles that allow them to support others. Okay, awesome. So let's keep going. So what are the careers that are usually awesome for phlegmatics? Counseling and social work. Counseling and social work. Counseling and social. So counseling and social, their compassion. To be a counselor, you must be a good, if not great, listener. You must listen a lot to what people have to say, if you know what I'm talking about. So you need to listen before you profile your solution. You need to first listen to what they are saying so that you can, you see counselors, they listen to you, they're writing stuff down because they're coming later with questions, to help with clarity and supporting you to healing whatever the issue you are dealing with. So counseling and social workers, if you are dealing with orphans, dealing with people who are displaced or homeless, you need a lot of listening skills and patience, and of course their compassion helps them excel in helping others. If you're not a compassionate person, you're going to struggle with kids, you're going to struggle with homeless people, you're going to struggle with people, addicts, or people who are dealing with one addiction or the other. So you need compassion, because you will quickly judge. If someone says, "Oh, I slept with someone's husband," before the person lands, you're like, "You did what?" So but a counselor will listen and try to see, okay, why did you do that? Was it something that happened in your childhood? Were you abused by your parent or your father or an uncle that you now feel that getting love from a married person is ideal? They go into the root, but a choleric could be like, you slept with another man's wife. What did I do? So counseling and social work, their compassion helps them excel in helping others. They do well in counseling and social work. That's what I'm saying. They do well in teaching. In fact, my wife is a teacher. She's a teacher. So I'm not great with teaching, especially kids, because you're teaching someone is running all up and down. It's man. So teaching, phlegmatics have the patience. You see, the key word, the patience and dedication. You are teaching someone the same thing over and over again, the person is not getting it. Someone like me, I will just lose it. So phlegmatics have the patience and dedication needed for education. Now, human resources, of course, HR means you are dealing directly with people, and people with their different nuances means that you have to have certain skill set to be able to be a good HR person. You have to be a people's person. That's just it. So they enjoy, you enjoy roles in human resources because phlegmatics enjoy working behind the scenes to support team dynamics. Okay, they will do well in healthcare and nursing. So those of you that are doing a lot of JAPA, knowing fully well that there's a lot of opportunity for healthcare and nursing abroad. If you're a phlegmatic, you will do well because phlegmatics' calm and supportive demeanor or nature or mien or personality is invaluable in medical settings. Someone is sick, someone needs to be given 2 injections 3 times a day. You need someone who is calm and supportive to do that excellently, right? So don't just look at the fact that nurses are paid well abroad. Look at your own personality. Are you a patient? Are you a naturally patient person? Are you a naturally caring person? These are the key things that you need to put into consideration as you consider roles in healthcare and nursing, right? And then phlegmatics do well in administration and support roles. Why? Because, excuse me, let me take this up. Why? Because phlegmatics are organized. Yes, they take their time. They might look slow, but they're organized. So phlegmatics are organized and reliable, excelling in roles that require consistency and structure. So if you give a flag a kind of like a schedule that do this at so time, do this, which looks like administration, by so time send this email, by so time call this client, by so time arrange this meeting, by so time set up this calendar. Phlegmatics are organized and reliable, excelling in roles that require consistency, and what? And structure. So that's about it. And then here we go. So to conclude, knowing your temperament, let me put this here. I think this will work aesthetically. So to conclude, knowing your temperament can provide insight, can give you insider knowledge into a fulfilling career path or life work by aligning your natural tendencies with roles that capitalize on your strengths. Now, what we are trying to tell you in essence is the fact that before you jump on that career, before you jump on that role, first of all, consider your temperament. Of course, probably we're going to go in, we are in a later module, we're going to go into gifts and talents, but for now we are talking temperament. No, in the general module called Know Thyself. So knowing your temperament, whether you're phlegmatic, or you are melancholic, or you are sanguine, or you are choleric, or you're a combination of 2 or 3 of these temperaments, is very important because it can provide insight into a fulfilling career. You can see some of the careers that we have considered, and naturally you can see that, oh, I'll do well in this. Oh, I don't think I'll do well in this because of the differences in temperament, okay, and the requirement of roles, that support or not support your temperament type. So knowing your temperament can provide insight into a fulfilling career path or life work by aligning your natural tendencies. There are some things that you do naturally without effort. You don't have to stress over it, with roles that capitalize on your strengths. I mean, the best roles for you to be doing, whether it's carpentry, whether it's copywriting, whether it's graphic design, is a role that you fit into naturally, that you're not stressed. Some people are stressed in their careers, not because the career is intense, but because they are struggling to fit in. They are there out of desperation. One desperation might be that there are no other jobs out there, so this one I have to make it work. Or another form of desperation might be that, oh, this is offering me higher pay than the other role that I'm better suited. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe you left a role that you're better suited because of low pay, in quote, and then you go for a higher pay role where you are struggling. I mean, so these are decisions you need to make, as a well-rounded human being, to make sure that you're making the best decisions for your life and family per time. Thank you. Okay, I said it that we're going to be looking at gifts and talents. So let's dive right into it. What are gifts and talents? We are still under the general module, Know Thyself. In knowing yourself, you must know your temperament. In knowing yourself, you must know what gifts and talents are and what your gifts are and talents are. I hope that makes sense. So let's go into it. So what are gifts and what are talents? Gifts are special qualities or divine abilities God gives that enable a person to make unique contributions to the world. What I'm trying to say is that, or what this is trying to say is that, you remember in the beginning we said you are not born by accident. The person who manufactured you, who created you, had a purpose in mind before he brought you forth into this world. If someone has a purpose in mind for bringing you into this world, it makes sense that the person will equip you with unique gifts and abilities to fulfill the purpose for which he brought you in. Let's assume that a smart screen is what the manufacturer had in mind to bring into Africa, for example. Now, one of the qualities that this smart TV must have is that it can display and entertain and have certain qualities that are fitting for the audience or for the end user. Do you understand? So the smart TV should be able to do certain things, should be pre-equipped with certain gifts and abilities, to further serve the purpose for which the manufacturer made it. If that's making sense, then you get what I'm saying. Gifts are special qualities or divine abilities God gives that enable a person to make unique contributions to the world. Now, the key word is that it is God that gives gifts and special quality or special or divine abilities. So sometimes when you say you're a genius, how are you a genius without God's enablement? When you say that I am the best guitarist in the world, how are you that without God giving it to you? So when you hear stuff like I'm a self-made millionaire, or I'm a self-made billionaire, or I'm a Bitcoin lord, or whatever it is you call yourself, the question is, how are you that without God's gifts and abilities? So it's a humbling realization that whatever you think you are, I'm a good speaker, I'm a good writer, I'm a good this, I'm a good that, it's only because God enabled, God predestined those gifts. God gave you those gifts beforehand. And you didn't buy it, you didn't even know about these gifts until a certain time when they began to manifest, if you understand what I'm saying. So gifts are special qualities or divine abilities God gives that enable a person to make unique contributions to the world. The essence of these gifts and these special qualities and these divine abilities is so that you can make unique contributions that only you can make to the world. Okay, so what God has gifted you with, now we understand what the gift is, right? So now what God has gifted you with will be needed. What God has gifted you with will be needed to fulfill your calling. A lot of people ask the question, what is my calling? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is my divine assignment? I'm giving you hints now. What God has gifted you with will be needed to fulfill your calling. And what He has called you to do will require your gifting. So, God will not call you to do something that He has not already equipped you to do. You might not even realize it at your early stages, but later on, some people are born prophets. Like, they come into this world and they just start saying things. Some people become prophets when they come to a certain age or when a certain circumstance requires that ability, and then they manifest it. So what God has gifted you with will be needed to fulfill your calling, and what He has called you to do will require your gifting. So if you can outline what your gifts are, your special qualities are, your divine abilities are, you begin to have a hint that you can sing. Does not mean your calling is to sing, but you would need singing to fulfill your calling. That you can run does not mean that your calling is to be a runner, but you might need running. Maybe in trying to fulfill purpose, some people will be at your heel and you need to be able to scale the fence. And as I'm talking about scaling the fence, I'm just remembering this Shaggy guy. You need to be able to scale the fence in a bit. Okay, so it doesn't mean that your calling is to be a runner. It probably means that running will be needed at some point to fulfill your purpose. I don't know if that's making sense. If it is, let's keep going, because you must get these things. You must get it. What God has gifted you with will be needed to fulfill your calling, and what He has called you to do will require your giftings. So talents, okay, we've described gifts. Now let's go to talents. Talents are natural abilities that people are born with or develop over time, typically through practice and experience. See the key word. Talent and natural abilities. You just see that I can naturally do this. I can naturally sing. I can naturally write. I can naturally fix things in the house. Talents are natural abilities that people are born with. So it's either you are born with it or something that you develop over time. Whereas gifts, you don't develop gifts. Gifts are given. Very little intervention from you. But talent, they are natural abilities that either you are born with or you can develop. So maybe now I might not have the natural ability for photography, but I can go for a photography class or classes, and then I turn out to be a very good photographer. Do you understand what I'm saying? Natural abilities that you are either born with or you develop over time, typically through practice and experience. There's the 10,000 principle by Malcolm Gladwell, I think, where if you continue to do one thing over and over again over 10,000 hours, which might be some years, you will be a genius at that thing, whether you are gifted with it or not. So that's where talents come in. Talents are natural abilities that people are born with or that they develop over time, typically through practice and experience. So if you practice and practice and practice, that's why you hear the word practice makes perfect. If you keep practicing and practicing and practicing, in no time you would become perfect at that thing, because you will gain experience and it will show in your work. So gifts can vary widely. Now we're back to gifts. Gifts can vary widely and are not always learned or acquired through practice. Are you seeing the difference between gift and talent? Whereas talents can be developed over time, gifts can vary widely, number one, and are not always learned. It's something you just can do. Gifts can vary widely and are not always learned or acquired through practice. It's just something you are gifted with. they often come naturally and can set individuals apart. The reason why one person is a singer, another person is a footballer, another person is a basketballer, another person is a golfer, and they are doing awesome in their different areas of endeavor, is because of gifts. So when you see someone doing so well effortlessly in a thing, and the person is deceiving you that it's practice that made him perfect, and you have practiced 10 times more than the person and you have not hit perfection over several years, it might be time to just accept that the reason why this person is stellar at what he or she does is that it's just a gift. There's nothing you can do about a gift. And there's this Yoruba or this Yoruba pidgin mixture that just defines this. As I'm just teaching this, it just comes to mind that abinibi yato si ability. What does it mean? Abinibi, inborn, something you are inborn with, which is a gift that is different, is totally different from ability. So it is in an attempt to describe what I'm telling you now between what a gift and a talent is. So abinibi is your gift, ability is your talent. Abinibi is something that is an inward thing. You had nothing to do with it. It was deposited by a higher being, by God, to fulfill a specific purpose. So abinibi is a gift, ability is talent. So gifts can vary widely and are not always learned or acquired through practice. They often come naturally and can set individuals apart. So if you want to stand out, you need to know what your giftings are, especially because whereas the talent you pick up, others can pick it up as well, your gift is unique to you. So your focus should be more on your gift. What can I naturally do without practice? Of course, eventually you need to sharpen it, but at least I can naturally do it better than most people without trying. Those are the kind of qualities you should be looking at about you in the general concept of know thyself. Because once you know yourself, every other thing becomes easy. Like for example, now, I accidentally found out that I could write, and I wrote a whole book on it. I accidentally found out I could write in my high school days. And why do I use the word accidental? Something happened that we needed to draw the gift. Me and three of my friends, we needed to draw on immediately draw on this so we did something. We're disturbing the peace during night prep, for those who know, if you're a boarding school person, and then the principal was looking for scapegoats all this while, and they wanted to make a bad example of us, whereas we were not really the real culprits. We are not the people who were disturbing the peace. It was just one moment of madness. And then this is a principle that once it catches you, once you enter into his net, you are either suspended or expelled. And from nowhere, the suggestion just came. We went to the staff room or something, and one of my friends had one of the guys who is my friend who did. And shout out to you, Tunde Samuel. Tunde Samuel, if you are here hearing me and you went to Korobede High School, I'm talking to you. So Tunde Samuel had this mentor, who was also a teacher in the school, and he was like, okay, is there? So we went to her, very agitated and scared, and she was like, okay, you know what? I can't come before the principal and make a case for you. All I can do is that if you can write something that can drop on his table, and it will be like an anonymous drop. Even she would deny it that she ever dropped it. That's the best she can do for us. And out of the four of us who could write, we didn't know until I said, let me try. And then we cut off in the middle of our notebook. One person bent forward like this so that I could turn his back to a table, and then I wrote an apology letter. And the summary of it was that this apology letter got us off the hook. We were the first and maybe the only people that the principal ever left off the hook for misdemeanor, one, and two, and why he let us off the hook was the statement he made. He said, I thought that you people, that if you could write this good at this level, you are just a high school student and you are using stuffs like temper justice with mercy and stuff like that. Is your father a lawyer? I said no. Do you have any lawyer guardian or None. I don't have any lawyer, anything. So how did you know to say 10 part justice with mercy at secondary school 1 or high school? How did you know how to put those words together? And it was in a very local school in a local village. So it's like, who does this? This was not Loyola Jesuit or British High. So I was like, where did you get these words from? And even me, I was asking myself, where did I get it from? It just came to my head and I wrote it. Maybe I picked it up reading a novel. I don't know. I know I used to read a lot of John Grisham novels. Then. I might have picked it up from there. But I was able to weave it together to impress the principal enough to let us off the hook. What am I trying to say? It was from there when writing saved my life and saved the life of my friends. That's when I accidentally found out that, so I could write. And this whole staff room, they put me and we became overnight celebrities, by the way. They were like, how did you get off the hook? Even the guardian of my friend Tunde Samuel, who dropped the letter, was wondering, how did you get off the hook? I never thought this was going to work, because this man, he doesn't forgive. If you catch you, you're finished. So we became overnight celebrities, and inwardly I was like, so I can write. So I wrote something that impressed, and this guy has a master's in English from abroad, from a university in the US. So I'm like, or in the UK, either US or UK. So I'm like, so I could impress someone enough to let us off the hook because of what I wrote. That's how I found out that it was a gift. Now, prior to that time, have I gone for any writing school? No. Did I go for any mentorship or nothing like that? It was just natural. For mathematics, I got the best result in my junior WAEC, and I attribute that to a mentor I had, who every Saturday, instead of me playing around, would go to a primary school and he would teach me and we learn together. That I can attribute partly to that. But English language, no one came and say, no, I had no mentor. It just came naturally. So see the example I'm saying now. With English language, it came naturally to me. I didn't have to develop nothing. With mathematics, I needed a mentor, so we could say English was a gift and that mathematics was a talent I developed. Even till now, I hate maths. But because of the mentorship I got, I was able to take mathematics to the level where I scored an A. And I think I was the only person who scored A in the whole of that school, of 350 people who wrote. 350 who wrote the junior WAEC back then. So what am I trying to say? We could say that English came naturally to me, so that was a gift. Mathematics was something I picked up, I developed over time through mentorship, through diligence and dedication. Are you beginning to see that? So English has always set me apart. So any wonder that I became a natural writer, author? I wrote several books, published books, that is. And then from there, went into freelancing, went into normal writing, and today I am a tech copywriter. I write for SaaS, not the SaaS, if you're Nigerian, but I'm talking about software as a service. It's one of the top, it's one of the highest you can attain as a copywriter. And when I'm talking copywriter, I'm not talking the copywriting in law. I'm talking about the copywriting of writing, sales scripts and, copy that sells for brands. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's how I got it. I didn't know I'm going to spend this much time, but it's good I'm doing this so that you can begin to look inward. What is my gift? What is my gift? What is my gift? What is that thing that I don't have to learn, but it's coming naturally to me? What is that thing that people have spotted in me? What is that thing that I accidentally did and people looked surprised that, whoa, we never knew you could do this. Where did you learn this? And you're like, I just know it. I just can do it. So that's what we're talking about. So I'm going to end this series. Well, that means there's going to be a part D, because I'm trying to make sure that no session is more than 30 minutes, so that you can digest easier. So, and what do we do at the end of every session? This is part C now. One, if you learned a lot from this, just imagine, just imagine what the rest of these modules have to offer you, and then this is the time for you to subscribe if you haven't. Share this content to people. Let people read this and be blessed. And then, of course, come to the comment section and ask questions concerning your own gifts and talents as well, and we will be sure to attend to it. So these are all the stuffs that you need to do. So subscribe, share, and come to the comment section. See you in green area. Jesus loves you. Thank you.